Hello and welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I chat through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy. And today's subject is all about people within WoW. Now these are, to clarify on that, it's sort of the different types of people that you meet in terms of friendly, not friendly, and you can sort of categorise most of these people that you meet within WoW. There might be one or two sort of oddballs that you can't necessarily put in a certain category, but hey, you're always going to get that in every game. So to start it off, we've got the three big sort of categories that you can kind of throw people into. You got the PvP crazy, the PvE crazy, and the RP crazy. So the PvP crazy, these are your general sort of hanging about Stormwind Keep somewhere, or even just outside the auction house showing off their flashy honour gear, like rank 14 sword, claymore, stuff like that. They're always the ones that like announcing it. They won't be quiet about the fact that they've got rank 14 in WoW Classic or anything like that, or they've got multi-gladiator in retail. No, they're going to be announcing it, and they're going to not announcing it in a shouting like I made it rank 14. They're not that dumb, but they will announce it by standing directly on top of a mailbox, directly on top of a fountain, on their mount, in their shiny sort of yellow armour, that sort of thing. So you're always going to get the PvP crazy, and you're going to find so many people or you're going to see so many people asking for jewels whenever like they're out and about in a city, like when they're just sort of doing nothing and waiting for stuff to happen, whether they're going to raid or they just want to sort of kill some time outside Stormwind, etc. So you got the PvP kind of crazy people, and you can kind of find no, you can't necessarily. Some of these people that you can find in max level zones, they'll be really wanting to just go absolutely crazy with PvP. Silithus is a hot hub at the moment where people will just be fighting Silithus non-stop with PvP. You go to somewhere like Winterspring as well. I imagine there's still some people that go there whilst farming herbs and like rich thorium veins. They will be jumping on every sort of horde or alliance, depending on which faction you are, that you see, and you will be wanting to kill that person. No sort of thought about it. It's like, yep, I see you, you're dead, I'm hunting you down almost. There won't be any sort of hesitation. It's that kill instinct. Obviously, you'll find these types of people on PvP realms. I highly doubt that they'll be on a PvE realm. I would be super surprised. Some PvP players might go onto a PvE realm just so they can flex on it a bit more. Maybe it's like, yep, look at me, I definitely did this, you all can't. So I haven't necessarily seen that myself, but as I am on a PvP server, I can imagine there's one or two people that would do that just to sort of get the attention, but it's not worth it, to be honest. It's kind of sad. Moving on to the PvE, you have this person who boasts that they're best in slot for everything. They literally have the best helm, best shoulders, best chest, waist, hands, everything in this character for the phase that they are in. So we're in Encourage, so they have the best gear that they can get from Encourage and the other raids that are possible to give their character the best stats, the best damage, stuff like that. But they don't just stop there. They have about 3 or 4 characters with all best in slot. Now, I have a couple of these people in my guild who have like 3-4 characters who are max, and they're raiding every day just to get gear for that character, for that alt character, and I think that's bonkers. Just have fun with your 1 or 2 characters. honest, Molten Core is a drag. Blackwing Lair's alright if you're in the right sort of on the right character and stuff. Encourage is also fine, depending on out quite easily. But these people, they love it. They're going absolutely bonkers over. So you're always going to get them PvE crazy people. And these will be the people who will worry about passing more often than not. So passing is if you have someone who logs your raid. Logging your raid is kind of like recording it in terms of like how quick you do the raid, how well you do the raid, your execution, deaths, your damage done for each boss fight. So it kind of records everything within that raid that you've done, and it will put it against the other raids on your server, or it can be like continental, or it could be that you've basically done. Most people will go for realm because it's kind of easier. It's super tough to go for like world and continental because there are some guilds that just go batshit like absolutely crazy with passing and like damage and getting everything that they possibly can and stuff. So it's really tough to sort of crack that, top 2%, top 1%. But these people will really go for passing. They'll bring every consume. They'll do guides on stuff, on certain bosses, what to wear. They'll have certain fire resistance to stand in at like fire more and keep damaging so they don't have to like LOS, etc. So these people will go absolutely crazy for just passing and doing the most damage and being the best on the server in that raid and on these certain bosses and stuff. So I myself do like to look at the passes and just see how I compare to like everyone else on the realm, like with mage and stuff. It's not something that I'm going to get upset about if I'm like 70 pass, 90 pass, like 98 pass, 100 pass. The higher number, the better pass, so the less people that are above you, if that makes sense. It's kind of weird because it's like because I always see it as you should be number one. Like, if you're on top, you should be number one, not number 100, but again, that's just the way it is. But I myself look at the passing, don't really care about it, but it's just fun to sort of compare sometimes, Then you got the RPers. Now the RPers will prioritise RP over most things, to be honest. We're kind of an RP PvE guild. There's about several who RP, I think, from what I know anyway, but they will kind of prioritise RP over sort of raiding. They'll say like we can't do Zul'Gurub or we can't do Encourage 20-man because we want to do this RP event that's at like 8 PM and goes on for a couple hours of them just walking around Silithus. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people might love it, and I can understand why people love it because it's the role-playing, it's the fantasy of what you want your character. You want your character to have a backstory, to be doing something, like you're telling your own story within the game. I completely understand that. But for me, I PvP, and the idea of walking around Silithus, talking in a formal sort of manner, in like your role-play manner, and making up this scenario just doesn't suit me. It's so slow for me and it just doesn't sit right with me. It takes forever and I just can't sit there and do that pretty much. Now there's a dark side to RP. That's ERP. I think it's erotic roleplay. Don't ever get hooked up in that. That is just weird and you don't want to know anything about it. It's if you ever want to figure it out, what ERP is, you go into Argent Dawn on retail, WoW, you go to Goldshire Inn, and that's all you need to know. Good luck to you if you do that. I would not recommend it. That's all you need to see about that. That's all I'm going to say about that, to be honest. But those are the three sort of big ones. But you can break that down kind of into further subcategories almost. So you've got gankers, you've got annoying people, you've got the over-friendly people, you've got dispellers and stuff. So gankers, we're going to talk about that one because it's something that happens a lot on my realm, and it's happened to me before. It's happened to everyone before. Everyone's got ganked at some point. I'd be surprised and think that you're lying if you have not been ganked, just saying. But their home is usually Stranglethorn Vale. I mean, that's a given. I don't think there's many people who would go to Stranglethorn Vale and not be ganked. They would usually be a male undead. Now, this could be a mage or a rogue. It's usually a rogue, but they are the ones who hang about at the camp up top and just, they live for your sort of not disappointment, your anger and hatred towards them. That's what's so weird about it, because they're like living off of that hatred, and it's their sustenance, their food, and it's just weird in my opinion, if you ask me. I'd get bored just sitting there killing a level 30 as a level 60. It'd be like, okay, that was fun. What now? Like, off to do something else. You're not going to sit there and wait for a level 30 to spawn to kill them again. Because what's the point? It's so slow, it's so dull, you're doing nothing, you're kind of wasting your time on the game. It is so weird. You just can't understand these types of people who do it. Now, these types of people, though, are people who cannot kill their own level. So they are killing you in Stranglethorn at level 30 while they're level 60 because they are being absolutely bullied and manhandled in every battleground that they are in because they are so trash at it that it's unreal. They get manhandled and slapped about in their battlegrounds, and then they have to boost their ego by killing lower levels. That's the way that I kind of think about it. And it's just kind of funny in a way because they're killing you because they're so butthurt because they can't kill anyone their level, so they have to do it. They have to try and bring you down with them even though you're half of their level. So it's kind of a silly thing, but if you're getting ganked, you just have to realise that it's because they're absolute trash at their character. They can't do anything against a max level on their character for the most part. About 95% of the gankers who like ganking Stranglethorn and stuff, they will be absolute trash at 1v1 against like another level 60 of their level. Now, gankers can also crop up anywhere. I've seen gankers in mage towers, like in the mage tower in Stormwind. So if people are getting world buffs and some poor soul portals back on his own, there's sometimes a rogue in there just to immediately like ready to kill you and gank you. You don't necessarily expect it, so you're kind of relaxed and not paying attention, and then suddenly you hear a cheap shot and you're like scrambling on your keyboard, stuff like that. So they can crop up anywhere, and it's usually the same people. Like if you were to do a study over a year, which it has been for a WoW Classic, I have seen the same couple rogues in Stormwind on my server multiple times, and I know their exact names. I'm not obviously going to say it because, you know, it's not right. But I know their exact names. You know the exact sort of people who are ganking. You know their names. You know the type of people that they're like with and talking to and related to, stuff like that. Like related to within WoW, within the WoW community, stuff like that. So you have next the sort of subcategory of gankers. These are people who can't actually kill someone at all, and they just want to make you miserable. Dispellers. Now, dispellers will sit in a certain place and wait for people with world buffs. Now, world buffs you can get from Diamol by doing a certain like run. You have to kill no bosses and you become the king at the end. And you talk to the NPCs going back towards the entrance of the dungeon, and you get world buffs for 2 hours. So one might be 3% crit, 15% extra HP, and 200 extra attack power, stuff like that. So these three world buffs can be dispelled. So you will have people on my server in Stormwind, on a fountain outside the bank, literally just dead, sitting in Ghost, waiting for people to come by with Diamal, like, tribute world buffs. And then they res on the fountain, they dispel you, and they die. That's their purpose. That is all they want to do. They want to dispel them buffs, and that is it. And you have to think, it's kind of like the lowest of the low of gankers, because you're not even killing the person. You're sitting there, looking at your screen, clicking on someone who has world buffs, pressing resurrect, pressing purge, and then dying. And these people do it for 5-6 hours a day within Stormwind, and it's the same people again, like the rogues within the Mage Tower. It's the same people. You know them, you sort of know where they reside and stuff. So it's just the recognition that they kind of want, and it's the satisfaction of like, he's wasted his time doing that like Diamal tribute run. Whereas it's like, you're the one kind of wasting your time because you're sat in your ghost form for 6 hours a day in Stormwind doing nothing but staring at people and their buffs. It's a sad life, like the gankers and the dispellers, because that's all they do. And I just can't see how it's fun almost. But you also have people, you have dispellers, not just in Stormwind, you have them on Zul'Gurub Island. These are priests mainly. You'll have them anywhere throughout the world, and you can just get randomly dispelled anywhere, to be honest. You've got to be unlucky to get dispelled, but I mean, there's only a few buffs that you lose, and it's not like you're going to lose out like 100% extra damage, like 100% extra DPS almost. So it's just sad that people go to this extent to try and ruin someone's day and like game experience, when it doesn't even matter at all if you lose a couple of buffs, because it's not going to ruin the game for you. It doesn't matter. So you got them two sort of in their own category. They kind of fall under this one as well, to be honest. Annoying people. So they are annoying. They are very annoying, like, to deal with, the gankers and the dispellers and stuff. But these people are the type of people who would whine about stuff within dungeons, just in general, just about anything that they can whine about and whinge about. So if someone doesn't like the way like a mob pack's been pulled, they'll tell you about it. If they don't like the way that you're CCing stuff, they'll tell you about it. If you don't like the way that they're healing, they'll tell you, etc. These are the people who complain about tanks not being fast enough when they're like just first learning tank, healers not being able to like heal them first and stuff, and not being able to keep everyone alive even if like you still didn't wipe and only one person died, etc. They'll be complaining about mana usage if they're like a melee. They'll be like, you've got enough mana, there's no need to drink, come on, let's go, quick. They're usually the ones that try to speed everything up, and then inevitably when you speed up, you'll wipe, and they'll get pissed off as to why you wiped, because you tried to speed up. And it's like, you shouldn't have pulled that much, that was ridiculous, why are you trying to go that fast, there's no need. And it's like, make up your mind. Really? Like, it's a bit stupid, but you do get these people that whine. You get people who are also kind of within this category who are ninjas. So ninjas are, you know, you got your need and greed. It's people who just constantly need everything, and it's just like, yeah, I can use that, I can use that, I can use that. I mean, an example here, it's when WoW Classic first came out. Now, it's my very first run of Gnomeregan. Not been back since, by the way, because Gnomeregan is an awful dungeon. One of the worst in the game, I will have you know. But there's this hunter who needed, I believe it was a melee fist weapon. I believe it was a melee fist weapon. There was no need for it because he had something that was just a hell of a lot better. Like, insanely better. And leveling, you kind of want as much as you can get. With your first character, it being the start of WoW Classic. It's been out for a couple weeks now. Couple weeks to like a month. You kind of want at least a chance to get some of that silver to buy your spells, like buy extra bag slots and stuff like that. So I speak up and say, you didn't really need that, did you? So we don't necessarily, like, would you mind passing it to someone who's the next highest role? And he says, no, I'm going to become a melee hunter. And I'm like, no, you're not, though, because you're not using it, are you? So he starts to, sort of talk back, and he's like, okay, I won't use my bow then at all, I'll just melee. And then I basically said, well, you're not used to us then at all, are you? Like, there's no point in you being in the dungeon. So he just doesn't say anything. And I kick him myself. The rest of the group are sort of on his arse about it as well. So we kick him. He runs all the way to the boss, pulls the boss to try and aggro it to us, to wipe us all. And then he dies, and the boss resets, and everything that he pulled resets. So he's just run off, got himself killed, and that's it. There was nothing after that. He just logged out, I'm pretty sure, because I don't remember seeing his body like turn into a skeleton or anything like that. I'm pretty sure he just logged out immediately after he died. But it's these type of people who, there's no logic behind what they're saying. It's just like, yeah, I needed that. And it's like, but you didn't. You didn't need that. Like, with regards to PvP roles, so my guild do a loot council, and there's some items that are a PvP role. Now, this part annoys me the most because there will be people who don't PvP, and they know they don't PvP, but they will roll on this PvP item just 'cause. And they might win it, and there'll be nothing said, even though they know that they don't PvP, and like it's a common issue. But there are other people who actually PvP a hell of a lot more than that person. That person might have gotten to rank 3 to get their like 10% discount for their mount and never PvP'd again. Whereas someone else might PvP a couple times a week and who deserves it more because it is a PvP item, stuff like that. So these types of things kind of annoy me. And it kind of comes under the ninja category as well, because it might not necessarily be used, in all honesty. So with the annoying people out of the way, we're going to go to the complete opposite. You've got over-friendly people. Now, over-friendly, I don't mean is a bad thing. I mean it is a very good thing. So these are quite a rare breed, I would say. But you usually have one within every sort of guild. So we do have one in our guild. He manages our Discord. He sort of breaks up every sort of row and ruckus that happens. He'll be the sort of voice of reasoning and stuff. He's such a nice bloke, by the way. I do have to mention that. But he'll be the one organising stuff on Discord, sort of trying to get everything sorted out. He'll be sort of moderator on Discord. He'll sort out channels and stuff. But there's the person who's just friendly 24/7, in-game and out of game. You'll be talking to them on Discord and you'll be having a great time. You talk to them in-game and they'll be no different. They'll help out with everything that they can. They'll try and help out with a Dead Mines run when they're level 60. They'll try and help you out with a Dime or East run to get some like fell cloth or something. They are so lovely, these people, and they sort of don't deserve like what they're given. They're given nothing, really. Like, our guy, we actually have to force a loot onto him because he passes on it. He'll win the roll, and then he'll be like, no, pass it to so-and-so because they've got better gear. And we have to force feed him loot because he just passes on everything. And it's like, no, he'll make more use out of it. And it's like, we don't care. You deserve this. Like, you do so much for us, etc. Like, these people you even come across just randomly within within the community as well. So like a couple, again, going back to the launch of Classic, leveling in Duskwood. I forgot the name. I was about to say Darkshire, but it's kind of the same. But there's an ogre cave in the bottom left of Duskwood, and you need to kill about level 30-ish ogre. Elite ogre. He's pretty tough. But we just came across, I was leveling with a druid of mine, like a druid friend. I was a mage, and we came across a druid and a mage. So we partied up because they had the same quest, and we just sort of went through this cave, and he was already killed, the ogre. So we all just sat there, us four, who had, like, two groups of two, who had never known each other whatsoever, and we just chatted for about 10, 15 minutes until the respawn came up. And I still remember their names, again, not going to say now, but I still see them every now and again, like going around Stormwind, going around Ironforge. I do remember their names, and I do remember just what they look like and our interaction within the game. And that's just so fun to see and remember, because it's just a friendly person, a friendly face that you see within the city in amongst all these gankers and the dispellers and stuff within the city as well. So it is quite a rare thing to find friendly people and over-friendly people, but you don't necessarily never find them. They're not invisible. They are there. You just got to open your eyes a bit more and look for them, and it's a bit tougher in the crowd of, shit, pretty much. But again, there's so many different categories that you can go into with people within WoW. There's so many subsections. There's so many big sort of points that you can make about each type of person that it would take so long to go over them all. These are kind of the bigger ones. So you've got the annoying people, the complete opposite, the friendly people. The gankers and dispellers are sort of the smaller, kind of just smaller than the big ones, the three big ones, the PvP, PvE and RP. So they kind of deserve their own sort of fourth place medal. Just stick it on their chest, wear it with pride, congratulations. They've actually won something in their life, these gankers and dispellers. But that'll do it for today. I have a lot of plans in terms of growing the podcast, and I do want to talk to you about how you could help with that. So we've set up a Pig and Whistle Patreon, and it can be very tough to sort of come by money nowadays, but anything that you have spare that you would like to contribute and help grow the podcast would be greatly appreciated. Now, I will not deny you the podcast. They will always be there for your entertainment, no matter what. You do not have to pay a penny to listen to these podcasts. But if you happen to go that extra mile, there will be some benefits with regards to extra podcasts like hints and tips ones, and many other perks towards that helping out process, and it will allow me to grow the podcast and bring together a community, is what I'm hoping to do in the near future, of like-minded people who play WoW, so you can sort of meet these like over-friendly and friendly people within the game, get to know each other, and just have fun playing the game that so many people have loved and I love myself. But again, it would just be greatly appreciated if anything could be said. The Patreon link is www.patreon.com/pigandwhistle. That's pig, the word and then whistle. Patreon.com/pigandwhistle. It would be greatly appreciated if anything could be contributed to the community that I'm trying to build and the podcast that I'm trying to provide for you guys. Again, thank you all very much for listening as always. I'll stop my rambling now and go with Valorfriend. Goodbye all.